This is DDS. From the DDS studios, we are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and the man, Matthew Two-Tone Blue Parker. Parker, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. I'm just waiting on it's the eve of the biggest day in college football for the entire year.
That it is. We got a lot of really interesting topics tonight. We got some interesting games going on this weekend. We have the first college football playoff rankings. We got some firings. We got some sell-ins. But first, go down below, guys. Hit like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a rumble on Rumble. Follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Download all the audio versions of all these podcasts on your favorite podcasting platform. Newberry, tell me more about what we have tonight.
So tonight we're going to touch on a specific firing down in Auburn. Okay. We're going to do our college Pick-6.
Yep.
Our NFL Pick-6. But first, we're going to the Washington Commanders. And there's some new news on Dan Snyder. I want to ask Parker, tell us the latest.
Well, they finally put out that they're actually looking at selling part of the team or all of the team, which couldn't come at a more coincidental of a time because the commies are being investigated for doing some stuff they probably shouldn't have been doing with, some money over the years. In fact, guys, there's a laundry list of stuff. We'll have to do a full breakdown of everything bad he's done. I mean, he's done stuff from scamming kids like out of their toys at the stadium, charging them too much. I literally am not making that up.
Fantastic. We did a podcast not too long ago about this scumbag, and just how misogynistic and just how much of a horrible person he is. There's a lot of people that have interest in buying, groups of people. Have y'all heard about I've heard RG3's name in there, Matthew McConaughey, like this big conglomerate coming in here and saying that they're interested.
And I know why, because the NFL is a money-making machine. You have to pull the money together to make money. Parker, tell us more.
Well, I mean, the NFL is about to get, they're already making billions, but they're about to get the real money in it. Like with Denver, they've got the Waltons in it. And with this, Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z are interested in it as well. So, we're talking like going from, this is a lot of money to the mega richest man in the world type deal. So who knows, man? There's going to be a ton of people interested.
Does this, do we think, so I guess I need to be fully briefed on this. Is this something that maybe under the table they're saying, look, you're going to have to sell this thing? Or is he being forced to do this, or is this something that he's voluntarily doing?
I think it's a force. I don't see any reason why he would have wanted to, because if he did, he would have already done it. Right. I think this is pressure, Parker, and he's probably not happy about it.
I 1000% agree. Snyder is known for fighting tooth and nail. This he does not want to do. He knows he is about to get voted off the island by 24 other owners and forced to sell. Like, that's what's going to happen to him. So, hey, get out, save some dignity if that's at all what he's got. But this is absolutely a force.
I don't think this will be the last we hear from Snyder. Once it all goes through and processed, I think there will be some more legal games, if you will,
Didn't he not too long ago say that he had some dirt on some other NFL owners and things like that?
That sounds like something he would try to do.
It wouldn't surprise me if he just tries to go around and roll over on everybody. Yeah. He's just a slime ball. He really is.
It actually came out that there's reported that he hired special investigators to go investigate other owners to come up with dirt on them. This guy, that's coming from the guy that's got sexual assault stuff just dozens of things. Like, what do you have on him? I don't believe it. The guy's an absolute slime boy. He said it best. He just get him out of here, because Washington is a proud organization, right? They've got great history there. Get somebody in there that does something.
Yeah, I agree. I can't sit here and say that anybody's going to miss him. I don't know that anybody is. I really haven't heard even a huge uproar about this, from anybody really in the media. That it's kind of just like they're trying to sweep it under the rug almost. You know, they release a lot of this information later in the week, hoping it gets buried by the weekend in the football action.
I'll tell you the one to watch for is the guy that controls everything is Jerry Jones, and then Kraft. Those are the two guys, but especially Jerry, and he is not afraid to go on his weekly radio show and say something. So I bet you there's something comes out of that camp pretty soon.
I'd love to hear it.
We'll keep our eyes open, our ears open.
We'll keep our eyes on it. I'm sure there's going to be developments there, and we'll have plenty to say about it. Yeah, that is for sure.
I want to ask you a question about college football and the SEC West. Auburn has just recently fired their coach. In the words of Bill Goldberg, not you're next, but who's next, Blake?
Well, first off, I'd love to point out that everybody needs to go watch our SEC West preview pod, because I'm pretty sure that at least one or two of us on this panel said that this was going to happen. He was not going to make it through the year.
It's scary when you two talk about firing.
I know. You got to watch out for our wrath. That's for sure. But the names that have been mentioned, Lane Kiffin, number one. I don't know. It would be comical for him to go from one SEC West program to another. So I don't think that's a real thing. But the interesting one, the one that's getting a lot of publicity, it seems like, is Coach Prime Deion Sanders.
No.
Coach Prime, man. Talk about it. I mean, you want publicity, you want positivity brought to your program. Is he the guy, Parker? I don't know. What do you think?
So he did recently say he'd have to listen if someone called. Of course you'd have to listen. You're at Jackson State. Like, yeah, I have to listen if Boeing calls me and wants me to be the CEO. I'll tell you right now, he is not going to go to Auburn even if he's offered it because he's scared, because he'd be in the same division with somebody else, Nick Saban, and they have a little bit of a tiff going on, and he would get beat down because he has a walking soundbite machine that doesn't know how to coach. I just don't think it's going to be him. And I think if Auburn did it, it would be a horrible idea. I think it's either the Kiffin thing's crazy. I think it's a possibility. I think he's probably trying to use it to get more money from Ole Miss. I would stay at Ole Miss, man. You win at 9 games a year there, and you're a freaking hero. You win 9 games at Auburn, you can't.
I'm going to throw out a name.
Hugh Freeze is who I really –
yeah.
Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, go ahead. Hugh Freeze.
Freeze.
Do you have a follow-up thought? Because I got a name that no one's mentioned yet.
Well, my thing about the Deion thing, it would 100% be a publicity stunt. 100%. I mean, you see all of the social media attention that he's getting at Jackson State. Great for him to be, bringing the HBCU attention to HBCUs. And he's doing a great job out there. But I mean, I agree with Parker. I think that he is all about how Coach Prime looks, and he doesn't want to tarnish Coach Prime's reputation. So who is this other name?
My candidate that I'd like to throw into the ring, into the hat, if you will. This gentleman has taken a year off. He's in the media.
Don't say something stupid.
My God.
He's been sitting back.
Don't do it.
Breaking down games on our TV sets every week. He sees the good. He sees the bad. He gets to make a list about what works, what doesn't work. I offer Auburn, Dan Mullen back to the SEC West.
I mean, that's great if you want Auburn to be the next Florida, and we see how Florida's doing right now.
I don't care about Auburn.
I know you don't. I'm talking about the Auburn faithful from the perspective of the Auburn faithful. I think that's a horrible idea. I think Dan Mullen is an offensive coordinator only. I think he's probably a pretty good offensive coordinator, quite frankly, but he's not a head coach. He clearly can't recruit, and that's something that needs to be done more and more down in Auburn, obviously.
Do we even know if he can recruit? He just flat out says, I don't recruit during the season.
Yeah.
It's a really funny suggestion, because what would be the perfect combination is to hire Deion Sanders and Nick Mullins, because one can coach and one can't coach, but he can recruit. So the mixture of two might make a pretty good team down there. I mean,
combine
you
them together.
heard it here first, folks. Coach Prime and Dan Mullen. My goodness.
All I can say is we're just 3 dudes discussing sports.
I mean, hey, Coach Prime's got the D. He's got the D. You know what I'm saying? And
he's
Coach
got the
Mullen.
yes.
That's what I'm saying.
I will say this, Bradley. I was very shocked and sure you were going with another name, and
I
just
was too.
a breath of relief.
No.
We were about to cut this camera off
Nope.
right there.
I wasn't going there. I wasn't going there.
Who shall not be named.
That's right.
Exactly.
I don't have anything else on the topic. Do you guys, before we jump into the picks?
I mean, look, we knew Auburn was a mess starting this past offseason. We knew it was going to be a problem for Coach Harsin there. Well, like I said, I think a couple of us here on this panel said that he wasn't going to make it through the season. And I hate to see it because, I mean, honestly, I don't know that he ever really got a chance, but clearly his modus operandi did not mesh with the Auburn program. So, Auburn is a good name brand, but they got to get the right person or else they're going to go into this downward spiral like a lot of these colleges do.
The next ones to be fired are going to be Jeff Scott with South Florida, Jeff Hafley with Boston College, and maybe Scott Satterfield in Louisville. Those are your next ones.
You've all been put on notice.
Oh my God. Hurry up. Let's switch it. Let's go to the college picks. Gotta hurry before someone else gets fired.
Parker starts naming names over here.
The UT Vols travel to the Georgia Bulldogs, a battle between the Hedges. But first, Parker, let's talk CFP college football rankings.
I think they pretty much got it right, other than one. That's a team over in South Carolina that hasn't done anything, but Tennessee's number one there. They've got 5 top 25 wins. I know I'm a Tennessee fan, but you look at it objectively, they just have the best resume, no question about it. Second, Ohio State. They've got 1 top 25 win in Penn State, what they had last week, which they were losing in the fourth quarter. You got Georgia third with 1 top 25 win against Oregon. That was week 1, though, fellas, man. I would really argue that that's the win people think it is. And then it rounds out, of course, with Clemson. And then 5 and 6, we've got Michigan and Alabama.
Totally agree. I mean, a lot of the other polls, the AP poll and all that, they base a lot of their rankings, it seems like, on prior years and pedigree and things like that don't really have anything to do with the current season. Because it's really difficult. I mean, again, I'm like Parker. I'm a Tennessee fan. I know I'm a homer, but if you look at it objectively, it's very difficult to sit here and say that there is a team that's better than Tennessee right now.
I mean, they've earned it.
Yeah.
They've played the games that were on their schedule, and it just so happened to be that their schedule's better than the rest.
You're exactly right. Number 1 in strength of record. Number 1.
I mean, when you play
Georgia is number 3 in strength of record.
When you play in the B1G, other than a matchup against Michigan and a good early year contest against Penn State, you don't have much else.
Well, and again,
Pac-12, we ain't even talking about them.
Well, I mean, the thing is these
12, no.
in the college football playoff rankings, you're going to see some of those style points too. And Georgia lost some of those style points, Parker, whenever they played Kent State and Missouri.
They did. I got something big on the Georgia one about Kent State, and another to touch on one of the other ones, Clemson, y'all. Clemson plays Notre Dame this weekend. They're 3.5-point favorites. If Ohio State is playing Notre Dame this weekend, they're favored by 14. If Georgia's playing them, they're favored by 14. If Tennessee's playing, Alabama, Michigan, any of these teams playing them, they're favored by double digits. That should just show you Clemson doesn't belong on this list. I understand why they are, but they don't, in my book, really belong. But this is the weekend, man. This is their playoff. If they win this game, they are going to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, they really are. And I was really close, really close to having an underdog, an upset alert there on that game, but I didn't. I'll go ahead and spoil that for you. But I do think that Clemson, you're exactly right. They've got to win this game. If they don't win this game, they're going to be who everybody, at least who me and Parker think they are.
I've challenged every university that's in that top 8 to 10 range to don't look at it. Don't listen to the noise. You still have to continue to play football. I know we're closer to the end here, but we talked about it on our previous podcast. These rankings are made for shows like this.
Yep.
It stirs up conversations. It gets people riled up. I mean, you still have to win, and don't take any chances if you lose a game. There's always a mathematical formula that you can get in, thanks to 4. So it's not always over with 1 loss. And that goes for these 2 teams here in this matchup. Parker, what are your biggest matchups, keys to the UT Georgia.
Oh man, this is a crazy one. So, by the way, this is the first time these two teams have had a top 10 matchup in 20 years.
Oof.
I mean, it's crazy. And Tennessee, by the way, has covered more games than any team in the country. The only one that they didn't cover was a backdoor to Florida that we picked, which I thought was nice. And we also, speaking of matchups, we talked about Alabama being the Heisman game. That wasn't the Heisman game. This is the Heisman game. But when you're talking about breaking it down, I thought I was going to be breaking down Tennessee's offense against Georgia's defense, and that's part of it, but not what I was expecting. People talk about Tennessee's offense as they should. They average 532 yards per game, which is second in college football. But do you know who's number one? Georgia at 537. Tennessee's got 49 points per game, but Georgia's right there at 42. I just was not expecting the yardage output that I saw from Georgia when I dove into it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we in our preview pod for the SEC East, we mentioned just the litany of dadgum Texas A&M. I mean, the Texas A&M. Sorry, I was reading something on the screen there. Sorry, of dadgum tight ends that they have that are just they're NFL caliber. You know, Bowers is an absolute star in the making. But yeah, their offense, they kind of just make their mind up that, okay, now it's time to score, and they go score. But guess what? I mean, Tennessee's the same way. I mean, I don't think I see this being another Tennessee-Alabama type game where this is going to be a shootout. Now, if I look a little closer, though, at the offenses, do I trust Hendon Hooker more, or do I trust Stetson Bennett more? I think I trust Hendon Hooker more just because I think he protects the ball better. And, you know, looking at Georgia's defense, I think they're weaker on the perimeter, and that's where Tennessee likes to attack. So, I mean, but the key to watch, though, we got to run the ball. That's for sure. And this is a Georgia defense that they really don't get after the quarterback as much as you think they have. I mean, they have, 10 sacks this year? And their number one, their sack leader is out. Is it Nolan Smith? Nolan Smith, he's out.
3.
Yeah, with a torn pec. So 3 of those 10 sacks that they have this year, that guy's out.
You mentioned you trust Hooker more than Bennett. If you adjust for efficiency, Hendon Hooker is the number 2 quarterback in all of college football, and Bennett is 38. In fact, Bennett is only one of 2 of the top 38 to throw for only single-digit touchdowns. And I have a ton of stats. I'm not going to go through them all, but basically Tennessee's offense and defense, as far as like efficiency, other than the secondary, and Georgia's, are all ranked in the top 10 on everything. So I'm just going to skip it. But I say all those numbers to say who's Georgia played. The list of offensive they played is pitiful. Florida, Bradley, threw for almost 300 yards against them last week, and they can't throw against anybody other than Tennessee. No. They gave up 44 combined points to Colin Shealy and Brady Cook. Those are the quarterbacks from Kent State and Missouri.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I had no idea who that was.
Mizzou was leading that game until 8 minutes in the fourth. It was
Mizzou probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
This defense isn't what you think it is. It's a significant percentage worse than it was last year. And last year, the first year under Heupel and facing a much more elite Georgia defense, Cedric Tillman just went 10 for 200.
That's all. That's what I have written down.
Well, and Hendon Hooker still threw for over 300 yards last year whenever they had a significantly better defense.
I mean, my thing is this spread is hovering around 8.5.
Yeah, it keeps going back and forth between 8 and 8.5.
It started somewhere around 12, I think, when we were looking at this early on. Hendon Hooker, 71% completion, 21 touchdowns, only 1 interception on the year.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia in the history, but does history matter? Probably not. Georgia has won 26 out of the last 27 matchups. Really, really good game. I'm interested. It's a 2:30 local time kickoff. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing at the 11 o'clock hour later on in our final thoughts. But it may just be, maybe just be too much talent, man. Because it seems like they come in waves.
Too much talent for who?
I'm going Georgia.
For who? I mean,
Georgia.
I don't know that they have that much more talent than Tennessee this
They
year.
don't have the receivers. Because I go receiving, I go quarterback advantage UT.
Which receiver doesn't match up to Georgia's receivers?
No, I was saying the UT receivers have the advantage.
Okay.
The UT.
I got you.
Bradley, not to cut you off, but this is to your point. Jalen Hyatt scored 84 points this year. If you take out the quarterbacks, he's the second responsible for points in all of college football. The only person more is Blake Corum, running back for Michigan. And like you said, like when I was looking for their biggest touchdown catchers, Hyatt was obviously number one. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Was obviously number one, but when I was searching for Georgia, I thought I found it. Like I hit find Georgia, but it was Georgia State. And then I went to the next Georgia, and it was Georgia Southern. And then I finally got to Brock Bowers, their big-time tight end. He's got 3 receiving touchdowns. He leads the team. He's at 136. It's the same thing with their running backs. And to your point, I couldn't figure out how this team is scoring so much without some alpha guy that does it, and then I found it. They have 8 guys with a rushing touchdown. 5 of them have ran for 3 or more, including Brock Bowers. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. They have a total of 13 guys that scored. So the problem is that you're right. They don't have a Hyatt. They don't have a Tillman, but they've got 20 Christian Kirks. You know what I mean? They've got a ton of guys that are just good, but not excellent.
Right. I mean, yeah, look, this is going to be a great game. This 8.5 line, I think, is absurd. I think this is closer to a pick 'em than it is 8.5.
I'm going to, since they say 8.5, I'm landing right on 8. I'm going Georgia 38-30, but give me the Vols to cover.
Yeah, I think this is a hard one to pick. This is the same feeling I had whenever we were doing the Alabama preview. I just think that I think 8.5 is too much. Definitely Tennessee is going to keep it a lot closer than that. I think that Tennessee will probably end up winning. I just think I cannot not believe in these guys as far as they've come this far to this point in the season. I have no reason to doubt them. What they're doing has been working. I have no reason to doubt that it's going to work this weekend. Tennessee.
I just want to say, whoever wins or lose, if you lose this game, you're still in the college football playoff. So while it would suck, you're still there. Like you're still right there. This team could beat you a lot of the same ways Alabama can on the ground, but as we've said a million times, you've listened to this show, can't run against Tennessee. The difference is Alabama has Bryce Young, and that guy was on fire that game.
Yes, he was.
Bennett's going to have to air it out. They can protect him. Georgia's line, while we are great at getting havoc and getting to the quarterback, they've only given up 7 sacks. I just what I kept saying about the Kent State earlier. Y'all remember that Auburn Missouri game? We were texting about it. Went into overtime. That same weekend, I was watching on a different TV. Was Georgia Kent State, and Kent State plays the same type of offense that Tennessee plays. And they scored 22 on them. And we don't even have to try to compare the athletes on these two teams.
No.
Bradley, I know you like some trends. So over the last 5 decades, there have been 10 games of 1 versus 2 in the AP poll with a spread of more than a touchdown. The underdog is 8-2 against the spread and winner of 6 of them outright.
Ooh,
Give me the Vols.
I love that trend. So I'm loving my pick of UT even better.
Wow. All right.
Game number 2. It's both of these teams are on the bowl game bubble is what I'll call it. A&M has lost 4 straight after starting the season, the top 6 team in the freaking nation. Blake, do you want to predict another firing right here out of A&M?
Man, everybody keeps talking about that. I just don't think that Texas A&M can afford to do it. I mean, he has got them just absolutely by the balls, as we would
because
say.
Of recruiting?
I mean,
so it's the opposite
it's his contract.
Dan Mullen.
It's his contract. His contract. I mean,
they owe him like $87 million.
Look, I've already talked to Newberry about this once already. I think you are going to see the most explosive and active transfer portal after this year with this Texas A&M recruiting class that's already got there. I think they don't like what they're seeing there at Texas A&M. And you could have some decommits, and you can have some guys entering the transfer portal and leaving and going to other places, which could make a huge difference to teams like Florida, who really need some players. But with this game, Kyle Field, tough place to play. Florida's struggling this year. I still don't know about Billy Napier in this system. Anthony Richardson, Bless his heart. That's all I can say. But I'm going with Texas A&M here.
Bradley, I know that Gators dismissed Brenton Cox. He's the guy that gets all their pressures, but I don't really think it matters. The locker room seemed like they hated him from what I was looking. And you said that A&M's lost the A&M has to win 3 of their last 4 to make a bowl game. Think about it. I mean, that's crazy. The Aggies have beat 2 FBS teams this year. One of those was against a bad Miami team where Miami outgained them by 145 yards. And the other was by Arkansas where the Razorbacks missed a game-winning field goal. That is it. That is their 2 wins. I almost picked this game as my best bet, as my underdog pick, because Florida is going to run some more. Miami averages 2.9 yards per run against everybody but Texas A&M. When they played Texas A&M, it was 5. Florida leads all of college football with 6.1 yards per rush. I know it's in College Station, but the Florida Gators fought harder in a much more difficult environment in Knoxville. Gators win. Gators freaking roll.
Dang.
I like it. I like the energy. I like the positive.
A&M just they're so bad. They're so bad.
Yeah, I know. It's a horrible game to have to pick, quite honestly.
Well, let me tell you something here. The number 4 offense in the SEC is owned by the Florida Gators, surprisingly, in my research, only behind UT, Georgia, and Alabama. A lot of that comes from the run. It has to, because Anthony Richardson, we've said many times, is not going to sit back in a pocket, move around in a pocket, and read his progressions. That's just not happening, man. It's a one read and get the hell out of there is what Anthony Richardson does.
Yep.
And then he either runs or he throws it away or he throws a check down. I mean, he's not a pocket passer, man. It's not going to happen. But they own the number 4 offense in the SEC. Here's what I don't like. The Florida Gators allow 30 points per game. They are number 130 in the nation on third down defense. They're going to screw it up, folks. They're going to do something stupid. They might grab a shoe. They might get a personal foul when it's supposed to be 4th and 40. I'm going A&M 30-24 and cover.
Wow.
I don't trust it.
I didn't see that one coming. I already had it written down here. Golly,
Come on, I can't convince you on your own team.
How is Parker the only Florida person?
What the heck? Yeah. Well,
I can see 24-23 and they freaking blow it at the end. Blow it. Hey, let's talk about that offensive juggernaut in the B1G, Iowa. I mean, that team woke up in a big Iowa's fun and gun offense, almost 400 yards, 33 points. What can Purdue do to stop the O train?
Gentlemen, the rapture is coming because I am the only one to pick the Gators, and the Iowa offense scored 33 points last week. I just assumed. I literally saw the score. I did not watch this game. I saw the score, and I was like, oh, well, their defense had 4 touchdowns. And I picked it up. But I'll tell you why they did this. It's because Northwestern is absolutely just – they're dreadful. They're absolutely dreadful. I just could not believe they put this many points up. I was just absolutely bewildered.
Yeah, I think that's flash in the pan here.
Okay.
Not really worried about this game. I'm tired of Iowa. I wish they would go away. Only play in the intramural leagues. Purdue in this one easily.
Is it Purdue -3.5?
It is.
All right. So I wrote down quarterback Aiden O'Connell will throw the ball 30 to 40 times, and you know he's going to throw a pick or two, man. This game's going to be low scoring, close. Someone's going to win 23-21. I don't know which team it is, but that's good enough for me to take Iowa in the points.
Bradley, I mean, you're right. As far as Purdue, they do like to pass the ball. They pass it almost 60% of the time, and good luck with that because Iowa's got the number 1 rated pass defense in the country.
Yeah, Breeze, preach.
Not only that, but Purdue, you can't run against. So you're going to have to pass the ball. So good luck with that, Iowa. But Purdue's secondary is almost as bad as Northwestern's. So, I think Iowa gets back.
Fire. They're rolling there. Here we go.
I think you say a pick or two. I'm taking Iowa for 3 interceptions on this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think the short field, man. Petrus scores. He looks good.
Iowa's going to run it up.
Iowa. Win it up. Win. I mean, I take the points, but
35 points on 200 yards. That's what
it could absolutely happen.
All right,
Defense scores 3 times.
Our ACC matchup, man, it's just two teams that seem like they're right there. Neither one of them are really going to bust the bubble and break through to a college playoff spot, I don't think, because Wake Forest totally laid an egg in Louisville last week.
Yeah.
Our boy, the one that I've been hyping up all year, Hartman throws 3 picks. It looks awful in Louisville. Gosh, one of these teams, though, is they're going to win, and they're going to be in position to maybe make some postseason noise. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, we were really high on NC State. I know at least I was very high. They were my dark horse in the ACC. But you're right. It's just they're kind of just right there, and they just can't quite get over the hump. And Wake Forest seems to kind of be suffering the same as well. So, but I know that they got what is it? Wake -3 right now.
Yeah, another 3.5.
Yeah, so NC State's a home dog.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to take that as an insult, and they're going to come out victorious here. I'm going NC State, baby. I'm still sticking with them.
Bradley, you said laid an egg. That is the understatement of the year because they turned the ball over 8 times and 6 of them in the third quarter.
Yuck.
I mean, but I look at the other side. NC State has been luckier than anyone in the country. If you look at post-game win expectancy, they have 6 wins. They should have 3. And Blake, I don't think we can. I was high on 2, but they lost their quarterback. Leary went down. Their backup Chambers came in, and he is absolutely garbage. He could play for Texas A&M. I mean, but they brought a true freshman in, MJ Morris, and he looked really, really good, which makes it difficult to project in this game. I will say NC State has the same defensive coordinator for the last 3 years and struggles with the Demon Deacons. They've given up 124 points in just 3 years. Sam Hartman can have a big day, but I think this Morris kid's legit. I watched a lot of this game, and I think he shows up, man. Give me NC State and the points.
Let's go, Wolfpack. Let's go.
Well, that makes 3 of us because I wrote down NC State's pass defense is strong this year. They're the best in the ACC. They're one of only 3 teams that have allowed less than 10 touchdown passes for the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're second best at getting interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Hartman, I think the interception bug may be following you, son. I'm taking the points in NC State as well.
There you go.
I believe this game, by the way, y'all, has been played consecutively for 115 years.
Oh,
like 115. Wow.
I like the little nuggets.
Yeah.
Best bet time. I'm going to start because we've already talked about this team in my best bet. I'm looking at you, Northwestern.
Oh.
Northwestern, you don't write anything.
Okay.
You know, I like to swerve.
Don't waste. I know he's going. He's deacing me. He's deacing
Northwestern, you are 1-7. Your only win came in Dublin, Ireland. And guess what? You're not in Dublin, Ireland. You're going to get rolled by Ohio State. Give me Ohio State -38.
Wow.
Hey, they could be a little angry about that not being first after the college football.
It could be 42-0 at halftime. I'm going to have to look at the first half line, and I may put some cash on it.
Oh, God. I know he is. If he's talking about it now, he's probably already done it.
No. Parker, what do you see?
I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, Bradley's going to absolutely hate this one so much. But last time, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers we saw him was terrible in the second half. He only put up 3 points. He's been very boomer bust this year. It's all about predicting when he'll boom. I mentioned it with post-game win expectancy. If you do it with Texas, if you look at it, they should be undefeated. Texas is coming off a bye week. Kansas State is coming off a thrashing of the Frogs in Stillwater, literally the biggest win of a top 10 team in the history of college football. I don't know who is playing at quarterback for Kansas State. It's really as simple as this. Kansas State's really good at running the ball and bad at defending the run. Texas can run it down your throat, and Kansas State can't stop it. On top of that, Ewers is going to be by far the superior quarterback. I don't care who plays for Kansas State. Texas -2.5 to demolish K-State.
Texas -2.5 versus K-State. Got it.
Nice. It's underdog time.
No. I haven't given my best bet yet. I haven't given my
I already
best
know
bet
what your
yet.
best bet is. You said your best bet was Jimbo Fisher getting fired this week.
No, I didn't say that. That was not officially said. That was not officially said. But I'll tell you what was officially said, which was it is now official, boys.
Uh-oh.
The University of Tennessee is officially the University of Kentucky's daddy. We sent them pussycats all the way back up to Lexington. We sent Will Levis's ass back crying. We told him to get a case of mayo and a pot of coffee going up there in Lexington waiting for him. And let me tell you, man, I don't want to hear any more about this Will Levis shit. I don't want to hear any more about Kentucky being worth a flying, you know what? It was a nightmare in Neyland, and that is for sure. I've got the nightmare continuing for Kentucky into this week. They are underdogs home. No, they're not home. I think they're actually road dogs against Missouri of all teams. Missouri's a lock, folks. Take them.
Missouri's surprisingly been good this year, and they have a top 5 run defense. So good luck to Chris Rodriguez.
Yep. Now we can do dogs.
For sure you would take Kentucky.
Whatever. Go away, Will Levis.
Underdog. I'm going to piggyback off of Parker a little bit. Or piggybacking off of me. I'm going.
No, I had it.
I'm going Kansas State in the upset victory over Texas. Rebounded after a 38-28 loss to TCU with a 48-0 victory over Oklahoma State. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers had 3 interceptions against Oklahoma State. He owns the 10th highest turnover-worthy plays in the nation, and he will turn the ball over in an inopportune time. Kansas State runs it to win. It's over. Kansas State.
All right.
I like we don't talk about these beforehand when we come up with them.
I know, it's great. I'm looking up at the Syracuse-Pitt game here. Right now, Pitt is favored by 4. It's in Pittsburgh. But I'm going against my preseason pick. In the preseason, I said that they would win their first 6 games, and then they wouldn't win any more games. Well, I'm going to go against that. I think they're going to pull the upset this weekend against Pitt.
I know why. Because you like orange. Go Big Orange.
I'm in an orange kind of mood this year, folks.
Everything orange. Oh, God, I hate myself for this. I was initially going to go Kansas to outright beat Oklahoma State. But because I start these on Wednesday, and then at that time, Kansas was catching 4 points, but now they're favored. So we had to pull a little change here, and I'm putting my 6-week underdog winning streak on a big time line. So I'm going to pivot to the team with the hardest schedule in the country. They played Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, Wake Forest, still have Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee. Right now, Vandy has lost 25 straight SEC games.
No.
Vandy could have beat an improved Missouri team. The Vandy's coming off a bye. Vandy has thrown 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. South Carolina has thrown 7 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Vandy lost by this team, won last year during a field goal. South Carolina scores on the goal, take out some of their massive opponents, and Vandy actually hasn't been bad on the ground before the season. Vandy was picked to win 1.5 games in Vegas. Listen, Vanderbilt, I picked you to win 4.
No.
You've won 3 games. I'm calling for 3 turnovers from Spencer Rattler, 2 interceptions, a strip sack. The streak ends at 25. Vandy gets it. Anchor down.
Whoa. Oh, my gosh. What did I just hear? Vandy. I can't believe I'm writing down Vandy and an underdog.
What is their little symbol they do?
I don't know. What is
it's been so long.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be
cool. Oh, my. Parker might make some money this weekend.
Hope everyone had fun with listening to our college shenanigans.
Absolutely. Guys, down in the comments, tell us what you think about those college picks there. Tell us if you agree with me when I say UT is Kentucky's daddy.
And is Parker crazy being the only one to pick Florida?
Yeah, and I don't want to hear any more from you UK fans out there. I mean, good God almighty.
Let's go Gators and Commodores.
Enjoy your spam and mayo. We're going to the NFL Pick-6. And today's edition of the NFL Pick-6 takes us to Sunday Night Football, NBC and Peacock. The Tennessee Titans make a trip to the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs coming off a bye. Boy, but the Titans, the Chiefs don't forget. They have not forgotten that 27-3 beatdown that the Titans gave them last year. And actually, Blake, the Tennessee Titans have won 5 of the last 6 matchups in this series. Does that trend continue?
Let me tell you, I think this game could come down to more of who's going to be playing quarterback for us. You know, Tannehill's kind of still up in the air right now. What I saw from Malik last week, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but I mean, it wasn't good. Did he shake the cobwebs loose if he has to go in? I don't know. I'll just put it to you this way. Tannehill plays, I think we could, you know, at least keep it close and maybe have a chance to pull something out in the end. Malik plays, I don't know if we really have a chance, and we might not cover the spread. But 12.5, that's a really big number. I know the Titans are struggling in certain areas, but I still think that's too big of a number. I'm going Tennessee in the points.
The line in Vegas tells us that Malik is playing. I don't know that to be true, but with Tannehill, it's around a 10-point win. So that's where we're seeing why it's up a little higher. And Bradley, I got some fun ones for you. You say it's coming off of a bye. With 13 days rest or more, Andy Reid is 21-12 against the spread. The Chiefs score a touchdown on 38% of their drives. That's the best in the NFL. The average is 21%. However, Vrabel is 2-0 against the Chiefs both times as a heavy underdog. 2-0 straight up. Largest underdog for the Titans under Mike Vrabel previously was 10. He did that 3 times at 10, won 2 of those straight up. He's just a different coach, man. If you listen to national guys, his Chiefs team is invincible. Dude, they lost to the Colts. Like, they can be beat. Both of these teams are 5-2. But, man, I almost don't want to see Tannehill. I was listening to a former doctor that on the sideline. He said the type of injury Tannehill has should keep him on the sideline for 4 weeks. The guy's pretty
what is it that they officially said it was wrong with him?
They haven't said anything, but what he says, it looks like a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, and there's varying degrees of that. I mean, you see what it's done to Cedric Tillman. So,
yeah,
a much younger athlete.
Yeah, both of these teams are tied for second in the AFC behind Buffalo. It may just be too much to expect a Tennessee Titans win, but give me the points.
I'm
taking the Tennessee Titans in the 12.5.
I don't know if they'll win, but that number just seems a little crazy to me.
I think Big Jeff could eat. He can make some problems happen right here with Mahomes. What I want to see from the Titans defense is that gap integrity. Don't let Mahomes break out the back door and pick up a 3rd and 9 with his legs.
Back door.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you have everything covered up in the secondary, then whoops, here comes Mahomes. That's going to be a backbreaker.
Yeah.
I'm going Titans cover.
I agree with you.
I don't know that they win, though.
Titans pass protection is bottom 10. The Chiefs pass rush is top 10. But I haven't heard many people mention the Chiefs' best pass rusher is out with a suspension this game and the next game, which I believe is your game, Bradley, next week. And you mentioned it. How you beat the Chiefs is getting pressure on Mahomes without blitzing. And the Titans do this. They did it last year, and they only blitzed 1 time. The interior line is good. So if Big Jeff wants to eat, they have to stun him, get him outside. This could be a Bud Dupree game, although he missed practice today for an illness. For the Titans to win the game, the defensive line has to be dominant. Simple as that. Just like it was against the Rams last year. But Bradley, you said it. The Titans held this Chiefs team to 3 points last year with Tyreek Hill. It's too many points. It's got backdoor written all over it. It could be 21-0, and they can still cover this game.
What kind of momentum do you think this gives Tennessee if they are able to get a sneaky little win here?
Oh, God, if they get a win.
Man, to talk about some momentum.
I trust your coach can do it. He did it all last year. Every time we doubted him. Every time that you went on the road last year and we were like, oh God, well, this is the game they lose.
These are the kinds of games that they win when everybody's like, oh, we're about to get our ass kicked.
Yeah. I mean, what was it, up to New England?
Yeah.
That's a lot. No.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Baltimore. Yeah.
Just never happened. Every time we said they're going to lose, it never happened last year, Parker.
No, it does. Like when it's this many points, y'all are just going to hear me say it every time. Like, give me Vrabel. Like, just give me what I think is one of the better coaches.
Yep.
Our next game is, we're not talking about good coaches here. We're not talking about good quarterbacks here. We're not talking about good wide receiver play here. We're not even talking about good defense here. But we've got to somehow pick the Raiders at the Jags right now. The Raiders are hovering about 1.5 point favorite on the road. The Raiders decided to stay in Florida all week. I mean, that's going to go one of two ways, Parker. Either they're going to be more ready and focused for the game, or some of them may have been grumpy all week, being like, man, why can't I go home?
Updating the line, it is officially at 2 at the moment.
What's that rate? Las Vegas 2. Okay.
I mean, I have kind of what you said. I expect the Raiders to do one of two things. They're going to roll or they're going to lay down and die. I mean, like literally that's what's going to happen. But fading the Jags for me since week 3 has been good in my picks. But last week, just to put a bow on how bad the Jags were, or not Jags, how bad the Raiders were, I will say though, it has come out that the flu or stomach bug or something was rampant through their locker room. So for whatever that's worth, but y'all, it was so bad last week. You know how many snaps Derek Carr took on the other side of the 50? I'll just do the math for you real quick. It's 0 plus 0. It's 0. They were awful. That was just, it was a horrendous. I forgot the game was on. I was watching Red Zone. There was no updates with it.
There was nothing to say. I mean, it was a big goose egg for the Raiders.
What about Jacksonville, though? I mean, are we seeing any progression here? Is Trevor... Is he gonna step up at some point and just say, guys, here we go, follow me? Or is he doing that and I'm just not seeing it?
Man, I guess there's some good news coming in 2023. They traded for Calvin Ridley this week, but he can't play this year because he put a couple of dollars on the Falcons.
I don't know what to think about that trade. I mean, I don't know if I hate it or I go back and forth on that. I mean, you really
nothing.
I mean, it could be it's a fifth and a potential 2, so it's not nothing.
It's a 6 that could turn into a 5th, that could turn into a 4th, that could turn into a 3rd or 2nd. I mean,
to a 2nd. You know, it's a 5th.
There's like 5.
That's what I'm saying. Layers. If he's even on the team next year, it's a 5th. A 6 is if he gets cut today. 5th if he's on the team. The next year. 2nd is if the following year they get a 2nd if they sign him to a contract. And he doesn't have that much left. So it's either like, okay, we cut him and it was worthless, or we're gonna have to give him this track. I'm just saying it's a guy that hasn't played for 2 years. I got suspended for gambling on football. Like, it's just not the best thing. And I loved it, man. I thought he was a top 5 wide receiver. Yeah. But I mean, you mentioned Trevor. I sat here and broke it down last week and said he throws interceptions on the final drive. He threw an interception on the final drive. Raiders are 0-4 straight up, though, this year on the road. They've lost 5 in a row on the road going back to last season. Only 9 times, though, in NFL history has a team returned from Europe without a bye week. Every single one of those times, the team was either tied or trailing in the 4th quarter the following week, and we know what I think Trevor's going to do when it's close.
Well, I'll tell you in just a second after you give your pick.
I look for 2 things to happen in this. Again, there was a closed door meeting after that Raiders game between the head coach and the owner. It's the 2nd time that's happened this year. Man, just they can't be that bad again. Just I'm going to side with the better talent. Give me Devontae Adams in a get-right game. I'll have more on him later, but just give me the Raiders. I have to take that.
Yep, and I will too. Side with the better talent.
I will 3. Well, by the way, I will side with Parker. I don't know what you're about to say. I've got Vegas going here.
All right. Well, I agree with Parker. When it's in question, always go with the better talent. That's why I'm going Jacksonville here.
Oh, Jesus.
Jacksonville has the better quarterback. Jacksonville 100% has the betting running back. Travis Etienne is white hot. I know. Hey, kudos to you, Mr. Josh Jacobs, but Ever since the trade, it's just opened up the ability for him to play as an every down back, and he's worth every penny of it on his rookie contract. He can run it. He can catch it. He averages almost 8 yards per carry. It's going to be a long day, newbie. I'm talking to you. It's going to be a long day for the Raiders. This is the game that Trevor Lawrence is coming out.
Oh, geez.
Because listen, I mean, they are 0-6. 0-6 in one-score games. You know how many games they've lost this year? 6. They're 2-0 in blowouts. And, this just so happens to smell like a blowout. I'm going 27-7.
That's
Jacksonville.
That is a bold statement.
That 0-6 tells me more about the quarterback. And the thing about the ETN, you're right, man, but that's what makes it worse. Like I sat here and said last week, Denver was going to stop the run game and Trevor was going to have to beat them. ETN had one of the best games of the year, the most efficient game of the year, and they still couldn't beat them.
Hey, you know why? They stopped running the ball. So look at you, play caller, head coach. He's got to grow up with. He has to grow up with Trevor as much as Trevor has to grow up.
How much more growing are we going to sit back and say that is okay for Trevor to have to go through before?
He's younger than Hendon Hooker is.
Well, I mean, we're not talking about Hendon Hooker, though. Now we're talking about a guy that's been in the NFL.
Trevor Lawrence is playing in his senior year in college. It just so happens to be his second year in the NFL.
How much more room do you give him to run?
I mean, he gets at least one more for sure next year, and then you're looking at year 4 when decisions have to be made.
Okay, wait. If you want to give him time, what about Zach Wilson? What do we think about him? He's played not even half the games Trevor Lawrence has played.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Are you ready to cut him too? Because I haven't said that.
Yeah, I am. He's awful.
Yeah. Okay. He's not a very good pass. But what I'm saying is the Jags lose out and they have the number 1 overall pick. CJ Stroud is available.
No.
You know, do you take?
Oh, better yet, Will Levis.
Well, if that happens,
that would be great.
If that happens,
that would be awesome. If Mayo boy down there in Jacksonville.
If the Jags get the number 1 pick for
Willie Duval,
unprecedented 3rd year in a row, we will have a DDS special where I will be hosting a bonfire, throwing Jacksonville Jaguar paraphernalia.
Come on, let's go Raiders!
Burn.
I totally just Googled where Chiquita and Hellman's headquarters were, just praying it was in Jacksonville, but it's not.
So we got 2 Raiders and a Jags. The next game is
Willie Duval.
What do we got here?
Hashtag Willie Duval.
We got the slumping, to say it lightly. The Rams
all messed up.
The Rams coming to Tom Brady and the Bucks. I don't know what to make of this Rams team, man. I mean, the Super Bowl champs can't get a victory. Is it Stafford? I don't know. Is it coaching? I don't know. Is it their defense? Jalen Ramsey would say no, but what is it?
I don't know.
Cooper Kupp might be hurt. I don't know.
Honestly, both these teams are kind of a wreck right now. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at Tom Brady is a mess at the moment. Personally, who knows where his head is? I mean, it's really a tough one for me to call. But I think at the end, I go with the home team here. I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Bradley, that's what the problem is. I think it's staring us in the face, man. I think it's the offensive line. They have the worst offensive line in the league, and it's the defensive line. They've got one guy there, and Donald, he gets triple teamed. I don't know how anybody else can't get pressure. Those are the 2. That is it. Like, that offensive line is horrendous. And Blake's right. You're picking between 2 broken teams, but the problem is one of those broken teams has the weapons on the team to get it done. The key, though, is to keeping Brady clean. He has been awful under pressure. 40% pass completion, 0 touchdown, and 3 big-time throws. When he is kept clean, 70% pass completion and 9 touchdowns. And like I just said, the Rams have one guy on that line that beats his guy by more than 14%. One. And the Bucks are coming off a mini bye week. You said it again, Cooper Kupp. I don't know if he's healthy. Give me the Bucks. I think they just end the Rams right here.
Is this 3.5 as well? Tampa.
Let me see.
I can tell you. Well,
looking. Lots of scrolling.
It's 3.
There you go. It's 3.
3.
Still 3.
All right. So my rule of thumb is when in doubt, take the points. So
yeah, maybe the play.
Try to make an argument of why I want to take the points because I don't trust either one of these teams, to be honest with you. I say hold on to your money, but because of show purposes, I've got to make a pick. So I'm going to take the 3 points and if Cup plays, then it's a bonus. Cam Akers is back practicing this week, but I don't know what the hell that means. They've got 5 running backs backlogged back there. There's a name I want to throw out there, a little waiver wire pickup that he will not be starting in my lineup this week, but Ben Skoranek. Look for his props because I'll be looking on Sunday for some receptions and some yardage props from old Ben Skoranek.
Okay.
And the Rams cover. Spread.
He got touchdowns a couple of weeks ago. Van Jefferson's coming back in this game also. I mean, I think the argument is that I think McVay pretty much owns Tampa Bay, but man, I don't. Yeah, I would not. If we weren't having to pick this game, I would not be picking this game.
No.
Have any of the teams that we talked about so far done well with trading at all in the trade deadline? Picking.
I mean,
we got Calvin
moves.
I know
Calvin Ridley.
Hey, we got Tony. Kadarius Tony went to the Chiefs.
Well, we were about to talk about one.
All right, we'll do it.
Let's keep that in mind.
Sunday night football, Ravens. No, that's not Sunday night. Hell, that Titans and Chiefs are Sunday night. But we're looking at Ravens Saints. Lamar versus I don't know. They got 2 quarterbacks and a running back down there.
Yeah, I don't know.
New Orleans.
Yeah, who knows?
And just give it to Kamara because that guy beats my fantasy ass every time.
Taysom Hill
between Kamara and somehow I get matched up with Parker every time Derrick Henry is playing the Texans somehow.
Hey, dude, he is just they don't need to do anything. That's why I don't know about Malik. Like, but they didn't pass the ball. Like, it wasn't.
I need to talk
to
I
could have been quarterback
of our league and be like, schedule me away from Parker on Texans Day.
It's weird. I have to. I don't know. I feel like I paid an extra $20 for that to happen.
He says, I want my money back.
Do you see any trends in this game? Anything noteworthy?
There's one. The Ravens have led every single game they've played in by at least 10 points.
Okay.
And I like, that's right. There is a but. They obviously have given those up, and 2 of them have been by 17 points they've led by. But you mentioned trades, and I do like their trade for Roquan Smith. He just feels like a Baltimore type of guy. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but it was yesterday or the day before. They activated David Ajabo, who would have been that first-round pick, remember? But he hurt himself right before the combine. That guy's getting ready to come back. They also have Tyus Bowser set to come back. They're not playing this week, but man, this Ravens defense, watch out. It is going to get sneaky in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I'm with Parker there. He's pretty much, it's hard to go after Parker talks, but he pretty much said everything there. I'm going Baltimore over to New Orleans here.
Yay, I'm the only one again, just like in the Rams pick.
Wait, I haven't picked yet.
Oh,
excuse me. Pardon me.
Yeah, wait.
I second everything he said, and I'm picking Baltimore.
Yeah, but then I've got a big butt coming.
All right, let's see your butt. Go ahead.
You know what it was? I wrote it down.
Yeah,
but Blake wrote it down. I want him to have to erase it. No, the Saints are very different at home. Andy Dalton has actually been really good. I know earlier in the year he threw 3 interceptions and 2 pick-6s in the same game. I'm going to sit here and tell you 2 of those were not his fault. Off receivers' hands into somebody else's. On top of Dalton, they found Olave, who is already probably a top 15 wide receiver. You mentioned Kamara. He looks like Kamara again. Give me the Saints in a rare time that they're underdogs at home.
There it is. Blake's been writing down picks prematurely all
night. I feel like, see, this is the drama here.
I know. Show. We know how to build it.
Parker just drags you along and then butt down, says, but. That's what happens. That's why I got all these scribbles.
And I want to apologize. I kind of butchered the opening of this game. Ravens at Saints, Monday Night Football, ESPN, your ESPN app streaming all night Monday. For those that don't care about football, jump on over to Monday Night Raw on USA. But I'm going Saints at home. I think it'll be a field goal game here, something like a 23-20. I like the Ravens, man. I've always, in the last 2 years that we've been doing the show, I predicted them to do big things in the postseason, but it hurts me to not pick them. But something about the crowd, something about a healthy Kamara, something about this silly Taysom Hill business. I think it adds up too much. And Lamar may just throw a pick like we've seen this year too in an opportune time. I'm thinking Saints.
Okay.
And I'd even put it down. All the injuries for them on offense, like, tight end may not play. They have a wide receiver out for the year, so
likely be catching some ball.
It's true. He looks good.
I hate them.
Let's see. What do we got here? Do we want to go to a best bet?
Yep.
Anybody identify? I mean, we know we'll get to Prop Parker in just a minute.
Yeah, we'll save Prop Parker here. I'm going 100% on my fantasy points here.
Oh,
I'm picking Minnesota over the Commies. A lot of negative pub down there in the Washington, D.C. area right now. It's a great time to go down there and whip some commie ass.
Prop Parker, you're up.
All right. This is not, Bradley, before you think of this, it is not a fate of the Jags.
Okay.
This is after that Raiders game when the owner Davis pulled McDaniels into a room. I have a feeling I was a fly on that wall, and I know what he said.
Okay.
He said, look, we gave a first, a second, numerous draft picks, and we paid Devontae Adams $25 million a year, and you threw him the ball once. I need you to throw it to him at least 12 times. His over-under is 6.5 receptions. I really think he hits 10. Give me the over. They're just going to pepper him. There's just no way they don't.
All right, so what, over 10?
Over 6.5. Devontae Adams over 6.5. I'm just saying I think it gets to 10. They have to. They after that performance, they've got to say, let's get back to basics. Let's get it to our best players, and we're paying this guy. Get him the ball.
Got it.
I'm going to go with a prop since I won a prop bet last week with Evan Ingram. It started early and often with Ingram catching that beautifully thrown ball by Trevor Lawrence in the corner of the end zone there. This week, I'm going to Travis Etienne, and I'm going to piggyback off of New Orleans not knowing how to cover the running back out of the backfield. Etienne will be able to run the ball with a nice clip. He'll be able to catch the ball at a nice clip. So I'm looking at the rush plus receiving yards over 103.5. Rush.
What was the number?
Receiving.
What was the number?
103.5.
103.5. Just total yards.
Total
yards.
Yep.
Got it.
That's my best bet.
That was a very odd way of saying total yards.
But
that's what it says on that.
That's what it says on the
I know. I don't blame him. It sounds like something generated by an app.
Totally. Underdog, where we got to pick a team to win outright that is not supposed to win. Doggy dog time. Rough.
No. I got another animal here.
Okay.
With some wings.
Okay.
A little dirty bird. Down in the ATL. They're going to take down the Chargers this week.
Can you believe
they're home dogs?
Can you believe the Panthers kicker? Come on.
Koo got me 13 points that week. Koo.
Yeah, he did.
Koo.
Hero.
Let's go. Dirty Birds.
Atlanta.
They could run it all over them.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going with a team that is happy to hear that their owner is out the door. I'm going the Washington Commanders straight up beat the fraudulent Vikings this week at home.
Whatever.
And hey, there is something to be said that there's bad news in Washington, but it's not. They all hate him. Everybody hates that guy. But I'm going to go with, like my college one, probably a stupid pick. But I'm going to go with the quarterback with the strongest arm in the league. PJ Walker's touchdown pass to DJ Moore had an air distance of 67.6 yards. That is the longest air distance completion in the next gen stats era. J.C. Horn will shut down Higgins. Horn has only allowed 50 yards, actually less than 50 yards all year. This Bengal team is different without Chase. Brian Burns, they did not trade him to the Rams for a reason, because this struggling O-line of the Bengals is just going to get destroyed by him. I'm talking strip, fumble, sack. Panthers win by more than 7-point dog.
I believe it. And just this week,
That was the other one on my list too.
just this week, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I am benching Joe Burrow in fantasy football, and Trevor Lawrence gets the start for my fantasy football team this week against one of the worst defenses in the NFL and the Raiders. Brandon, I'm sorry they have to take advantage of your team, but they're going to do it 27-7.
Parker says we'll see about that.
Well, it's probably smart. I mean, they're going to be down by 30 points. They're going to be passing the ball.
That's a show.
That's a show, guys. Thanks for joining us here on Friday night again for another episode of DDS Sports Talk. Go ahead while we got your attention. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. Follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. You can download all the audio versions of these podcasts on your favorite podcasting platform. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
I've got one, guys, that is not sports related, but it just really bothered me today. We have a lot of things wrong in our world. Wars, famine, you name it. We have it. But the reason for these things is because of people. Let me demonstrate. Blake, I sent you a pic earlier. I don't know if you can pull it up. This is from the grocery store earlier today. These people have full buggies in the self-checkout. And before you ask me, oh, well, all the other regular ones were closed. No, there were 3 other open, and 2 of them had 0 people in them. I had 3 items. I had to go stand in the stupid line, wait for it to go down the aisle because of these inconsiderate people. If you have more items that will fit in your 3 or 4 assigned checkout bags in that little spot, or if you're over the age of 75, you're not allowed to use these lines. These types of people are where bad things exist. It's God punishing humanity. Use some common sense. If you have a bunch of crap, go to a normal aisle. That is all I had to get off my chest, fellas.
Wow.
Just another bomb for the road there. Good Lord Almighty.
So I already hinted at I will not be watching college football at 11 a.m. But however, this is what I'll be doing. And I encourage others to join me. WWE has a premium live event tomorrow on Saturday. It is WWE Crown Jewel live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, featuring the Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus social media star turned WWE superstar Logan Paul, and Bray Wyatt brings his mystery over to Saudi Arabia. Join me in some WWE wrestling live event. Crown Jewel.
Good God Almighty. That was a mouthful. A lot of energy behind that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Elon Musk has officially finalized his purchase of Twitter. A lot of weird stuff going on over there. I'm sure you guys follow us out there on Twitter. But hey, all of our picks, we're going to have them on TikTok. We're going to have shorts on YouTube. Comment down there below on all those videos and on the TikToks as well. Let us know what you think about all of them. But guys, let's keep it weird this weekend. Let's pick some underdogs. Let's get some best bets in. Other than that, let's make some money this weekend. Two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.